Iron Man, released on May the 2nd, 2008, was produced on the back of $140 million and grossed $585.2 million, even though people dismissed it prior to its release at San Diego Comic-Con. It currently stands as the highest reviewed comic book movie of all time, and also currently sits at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, of course, this was the first outing of Marvel Studios before they were bought by Disney, and even without Disney's help, this movie managed to make Marvel Studios a household name almost overnight. And I'm not surprised with the great cast and crew behind this movie. Of course, you have Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man himself, also known as Tony Stark, Gwyneth Paltrow playing the potential love interest for him, Pepper Potts, Jeff Bridges playing the villain of the movie, Obadiah Stane, also known as the Ironmonger, and Terrence Howard playing Colonel James Rhodes. And of course, as I'm pretty sure we all know, Terrence Howard would go to be later replaced in Iron Man 2 by Don Cheadle to play Colonel James Rhodes, also known as War Machine. The movie has a really interesting and enjoyable plot, but still manages to keep the movie simplistic. Billionaire, genius, playboy philanthropist Tony Stark, who of course is the main man behind Stark Industries, which is a weapons company at the time, he then goes overseas to show some weapon tests to the military. He then gets kidnapped by terrorists who make him build a missile for them. But of course, our hero of the story has other plans and decides to build a piece of armor that can get him out of there and back to America safely. This goes on to be the Iron Man Mark I armor. Returning to America, he then refines the suit, and as the plot goes on, we start to find out that Obadiah Stane isn't the nice guy he's made out to be in the start of the film. He's not quite as good friends with Tony Stark as he makes out to be, and it turns out that he's the one who got him kidnapped. Tony Stark, later finding this out, is forced to go and fight his apparent friend, Obadiah Stane, who's now built his own armor, modelled off the Mark I armor. We then get to witness an awesome final battle between the two, where Obadiah Stane finally meets his ultimate demise, falling into a giant exploding arc reactor. Then, our hero Tony Stark goes to hold a press conference after the event of the battle, and says the words that have gone down in history in the MCU, "I am Iron Man." And that's where the film ends. But if you were one of the people who for some reason stayed behind after the credits, you were welcome to a lovely post-credit scene which set up the future of the MCU, introducing Nick Fury talking to Tony Stark about the Avengers Initiative. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the first episode of my new series, the MCU Review. This is essentially just a series where I review the MCU movies every 8 days. It's just right from the very beginning of January, leading up to Avengers Infinity War. This is a thing drawn from this thing I saw on Instagram where you watch an MCU movie every week. I am a lot behind on this first episode, as you know I normally am on this channel. I'm quite often behind on things. But episode 2 will be out in 2 days. That will be The Incredible Hulk, and I can't wait to review that movie and the rest of the movies in the MCU, because I'm just really hyped for Infinity War, and I mean, aren't we all? So make sure to stay tuned for episode 2, and I'll see you guys in the next video.